Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about LCA, Landcadia Holdings II incorporations. I'm going to go through technical analysis briefly, and then I'm going to dive deeply into anything I can find in terms of news, company information, what their plans are, and including the merger. So this is a special acquisition company. So it basically operates in hope of actually merging into a company that has a lot of potential. I'm going to try to go as brief as I can. Make sure to drop a like this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. Let's jump right into it. On a 1 week perspective here, what we get to see here is a little bit of mixed results. So mainly we're going to look at technical analysis, and if it does become a bit mixed or bearish, you need to look at news to see is this something you want to back. So MACD here, on the last week, it looks like it went through a negative reversal. So it actually went towards the negative side. The histogram is negative. That is a very dangerous sign. It usually tells you, you try to get out before it kind of dips even further down and stabilizes. Now, on the 80X, it shows in that it actually broke the trend around 50, or almost very close to 50, or 47.93, and it's dipping down to 39.47. But what we get to see here is a hammer. So, or I'd say this is more of a hammer followed by a doji star, in a sense. But it's very much closer for a thinner hammer, so that can give us a little bit of an insight that, alright, we might get a bit of a reversal there, very similar to what we've seen in this one here. You see the candles are identical. What we get to see as well is a 1,000,000% R that went from oversold to a little bit towards neutral, and momentum seems to be picking back up. Volume is increased from the week to week before, just barely even noticeable though. Unbalanced volume outflow seems to be greater than inflow, although the moving averages look bullish, with a very strong chance of a reversal because it's in the trading action zone. So all in all, it gives us a warning sign with a potential reversal. So now let's take a quick look into a one-day perspective. On the one-day perspective, the MACD gives another whole out story. And the MACD is actually attempting to curve positive. And if it does, we might actually see a little bit of push towards green. Now, what we get to see here on an ADX, it shows in that there is a strong possibility of a new trend forming. 1,000,000% R, though, is really overbought. Momentum here is recovering, and unbalanced recovered on the last day. Now, we get to see a little bit of a bullish kicker here, and that is quite bullish. Although, what we get to see here is that the moving averages, ever since, I believe, around the 1st of October or so, or especially 28th of September, it has gone bearish. Right now, it's almost all around bearish. It's in the bearish trading action zone where negative reversals are likely. So it's a little bit in a very awkward position where you get to see a bit of mixed results, but it tends to be a little bit more towards the bullish. Now, on the 1 hour perspective, what we get to see, and this is merely just for the next few hours. So next few hours, Monday. And what we get to see here is it's above the trading action zone. It's going on bullish on the moving averages all throughout on Friday. ADX shows in a very strong potential, although everything shows that in the last couple of hours on the extended market, it's actually seeing a pullback. So what you might get to see is that it opens up red, sees a pullback, and then recovers. So that's what the 1 hour perspective is telling us. Now on to the moving average band. It's expected to trade 1306 in the bottom, 1451 in the middle, and 1597 based on the moving averages historically. Now historically, it doesn't seem that it's actually moving with the moving average band. Previously, before 25th of June, yes, it was, but beyond that, we don't get to see any significance on that. Now the stochastic fast and slow. This gives us an indication that perhaps the price action is attractive at the current time or not. On the slow, it shows us that it is. It is stabilizing, it's kind of curving up, so it looks nice. When we're looking into the stochastic fast, I would say somewhere around 14th of October looked attractive. Bit more attractive on the 15th, but right now it's actually attempting to go further, so you might actually see 1 or 2 more green days, or a green day on the fast. It hits up around 77.16 from 57.76, and then probably dips down a little. Now taking a quick look into Fibonacci retracements. The current support sits at 1405, above that 1520, current resistance is 1528, support is 1405, below that 1281, and above that 1704 on the resistance. Now these are the Fibonacci retracements. Sometimes they work really well. I mean, you get to see here the tail is really hitting on 1281. So we're going to take a quick look into significant supports and resistances based on price action. 1271, a very significant one, tested twice. And then below that, 1196 tested before, I believe multiple times, not just 2-3 times. Below that, we're looking at the one of the bottoms, 1140, and 1115 is the bottom of this one here that really dipped below there from its previous highs and jumped back right up. Resistances here, significant resistance sits at the 1442. Above that, we're looking into 1483, and above that, we're looking somewhere around the 1535. That was a previous hard resistance. And then above that, we might be looking at something like 16. Now let's go on towards news before I kind of explain what the trend here seems to be and what the pattern is, because there is a pattern here. Now, taking a quick into the news, LCA is actually attempting towards a reverse merger, and it operates as what they call a blank check or a SPAC, or a shell company, for instance. And it has plans to merge with Golden Nugget, a reverse merger, where it does have a major stake into Golden Nugget, and the Golden Nugget comes into the market in its own ticker. And with a lot of these is that there is hype at the start. People start checking what Golden Nugget is. They find it attractive. Price moves forward. Fear of missing out hits in. The price rips up. And then after kind of it settles down, with the SPAC bubble that's kind of slowing down at the moment, what you get to see is a price movement that actually jumps back up closer towards the merger date. Once the merger date is announced, it jumps up, everyone is excited, and then closer to the merger becomes buy the rumor, sell the news, and it dips. And then after a merger happens, you might see a bit of a push forward upwards, but that doesn't happen. That depends on the current market, things like the entire market itself as general, and how much is getting pumped. So it's a really risky play when you're playing it a little bit late. Nonetheless, let's take a quick look into what Golden Nugget is, and it's very obvious. It's a lot. It basically is an online gambling account website. And taking a quick look into the presentation, I think, is the best way to dive deeply into what they are. So they have around 650 and above mobile games in terms of online gaming when it comes to kind of gambling. Massive $20 billion and above online market opportunities. The current stay-at-home climate has significantly accelerated consumer adoption of online gaming, pandemic resistance, and scalable business model with 30+ profitability margins. Golden Nugget is a household name throughout America with a nation database focuses on profitable gaming customers. Well-established leader in New Jersey, the largest online gaming market in the US, and it's an award-winning management team with a history of successful execution. So in terms of their valuation, what we're looking at is they have around $300 million in cash in the purpose of the acquisition. That's the resultant for it was going to be. The value of Golden Nugget Online Gaming sits at $745 million, and they were talking back that I believe this presentation is in June. So with the working remotely from home and with the pandemic, I do expect that this one has actually increased, and so the revenues probably is seeing a little bit of an increase there. And we're looking at estimate TEV over at 2021 estimated revenue. We're looking at 6.1%, and with an estimated revenue of 122 million %. Of course, a little bit, a lot lower than DraftKings. But look at the cash flow here; it's actually positive rather than negative on DraftKings, and it's still looking better than GAN on the 2021 estimated revenue. Total enterprise value hits GAN a little bit higher, a lot less than DraftKings, but again, positive/negative cash flow. It doesn't matter if you're giving more revenue, but if you're spending a lot more on advertisement, the cost of products is going, the administration fees is up the roof, and administration expenses up the roof, then really the business model, you're just throwing money away. So that's why Golden Nugget looks better than DraftKings and GAN at the moment. This is the comparable company benchmarking. PEV to 2021 estimated revenue, it hits lower than the 8.5 average. Growth adjusted revenue multiple is 0.17. It hits lower than 0.59, but under 19 to 24 revenue CAGR, it actually seems to be hitting the estimated to be highest. So quite exciting there. So Golden Nugget is a diversified restaurant, hospitality, entertainment company that basically is partnered with 600 outlets, 3 hotels, 4 aquariums, 2 amusement parks, 5 Golden Nugget casinos in Atlantic City, Las Vegas, Laughlin, Lake Charles, and Biloxi, with 39 states, including DC and Puerto Rico, with 42 international units. Puerto Rico is not a state, by the way, and neither is really DC. I imagine you're talking about Washington. Now, going on towards approximately $4 billion in 2019 estimated revenue, actual revenue. So that is quite amazing. That's their map in terms of where the board national network of location is. So that seems to be exciting as well. And they really are trying to brand themselves as an American household company all throughout. This presentation is getting a little bit too lengthy, so I'm going to try to move as fast as I can in terms of coming into it. With the recent kind of, well, the demographic here they're going for is 40 to 45 years old for iGaming player, with land-based casino players 50-55, hoping to kind of bring them on board an online sports player from 30 to 35. If something had taught me with the stock market is people love gambling, and so this one probably has a good future, especially if people are sitting at home on their comfy chairs and just gambling it. Instead of, well, there's something different with casinos, and that's where you kind of compare them, right? Are people going towards getting money or entertainment? Number one iGaming focused U.S. casino brand in New Jersey, on track to deliver $95 million of GGR and $24 million of adjusted revenue in 2020. Well positioned, captured of 10% share, projected $22 billion US in the iGaming market. And COVID-19 accelerates e-commerce secular trend and accelerates US iGaming regulation. Quite exciting there. We're trying to go on towards what are the next things coming up. So basically, to try to go through explosive growth during the COVID-19 outbreak. They're really capitalizing onto trying to get a piece of the pie for the $22 billion iGaming market by maturity for future opportunities, and around $2.5 billion in terms of the current gaming market in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. So that is quite exciting when it comes to that. Next things coming in is what is yet to come for this company. And when we get to look into, for instance, the brand itself, we do try really focusing on to iGaming. So with around 870 titles, this brings in, with exclusive launches, it brings them way ahead of the competition. Now, diving deep towards how we differentiate from ourselves, so I'm going to kind of skip a little bit to market overview. And basically taking a quick look into the average monthly casino ARPU and GR by year 2014 to 2020, you're looking at $624, I believe, million in terms of coming into that. And where Golden Nuggets come in, they're coming in from terms of M12, 36, 60, and M72. That's being a little bit more technical, but basically LTV 7.7 compared to DraftKings of 2.4, which seems to be higher. So I'm not going to go through exact details. Some of the things that they actually have done in 2020 was the new games, an updated interface, and the current studio capacity of 18 tables. Space is available to expand to more 8 tables. And 20 exclusive games already launched in 2020, with 80 more lined up for 20 to 2021. Now, moving on towards financial overview and growth plan. I'm going to go through the growth plan. So the growth plan here, they're trying to go on for an expansion for the iGaming, as I said, and online sports in the future. So that seems to be exciting. So the regulations for the online sports is coming in November 18th for New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So that is another PR that we're going to be really focusing on. And then coming on towards January 2021, GNOG entry will be in 2021 for January for expected for Pennsylvania and Michigan, and we're looking into as well early on February for the iGaming regulations for New Jersey. So that is exciting, with a lot more regulations coming in. Now moving on towards a bit more filings, so that will be a bit more fun when it comes to it. So it started operations in Q4 2013, and it became profitable in 2016. First online gaming company to launch live dealer in the United States, with 1 industry awards 3 years in a row. First launch to casino floor in the US, and a net income of over $11 million in 2019. The CEO and the chairman will remain the CEO and chairman after the merger or the SPAC, the reverse merger. And we were going on towards the kind of cash flow for LCA. I don't have the Golden Nugget cash flow yet. That expected to be coming in later on, after perhaps the merger acquisition completes through. It looks like they're still profitable, though with COVID-19 it seems to be in the last 3 months be a lot less than what it was, mainly coming in through interest income, and that seems where their income is. Gross gaming revenue of 28.2 million compared to 15.3 million during the same period in 2019, with an increase of 85% as seen. Net revenue of 24.8 million compared to 13.9 million during the same 2019 period of 78% increase. Operating income is also increased 74%. So that is exciting to see. Going on towards entering towards the agreement, so this is what we already know. Current merger date is not yet specified, so usually I'm kind of expecting it to be Q4 2020, Q1 2021 period. That's yet to be seen. We're looking into basically additional capital as well, putting into Golden Nugget in terms for their expansion. Now coming on towards institutional buyers, and I'm very sorry that the video is a little bit too long. There's just a lot to cover in this one, and I try not to skim on the details. So we see a bit more in higher purchases than, let's say, decreases in terms of institutional buyers. Some of them are funds or fund indexes, but we get to see that in the last week, around 170,000 shares have been bought alone from these two investors. Going on towards insider buyings, I don't see anything significant coming on there. Nothing seems to be reported. Now coming on towards pattern that I did mention. Now, this pattern here is a little bit dangerous because this can be considered a head, and this here is the shoulder. And that is a very bearish pattern. Although, the bottom seems to be somewhere around the 11.15, right? It still haven't covered the gap that it did kind of create, right? So that kind of gap is down to $10. So the risk here is, or I would say kind of like the most risk you probably be getting is around 30 to 40% decrease on your entry. Now, if it does dip again towards 1270, really your risk is around 20%. But when it comes in towards longer term, and this is where you gotta approach this one, you're not just trading, you're actually approaching it through a longer term. Very similar to what Highland right now is. It's a very bullish company, and that's why it's started a massive run in this. But yet, it's yet to prove itself. And when they're bringing into a profitable company, I know companies that are sitting at $10, $12 that are pharmaceuticals that are nowhere near profitable. Yeah, this one here is sitting in the same place and is profitable. So that is something to think about. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.